means that radar is picking up on some of that rotation. So speaking of rotation, let's take a look at winds upstairs in the atmosphere and how they're looking. There's still a noticeable couplet right to the north and east of Port Deposit. So that's actually the intertwining of the red and the green color that you see on your screen right here. So it's a little bit more broad. It's not as tight knit as it was earlier. But right over by Rising Sun, right to the south, that's where we're seeing some of that tighter rotation kind of taking place. So you see Chelsea of Nottingham, Cathars Corner, Winchester Village, Barnes Corner. Those areas, you guys really, if you live in those areas or have family or friends that live over there, you want to make sure you tell them, send them a quick text or give them a quick call. Just let them know that they do have that, they are in that tornado warning and they must get to their safe place. So that is a basement, that is a closet or a bathroom. Basically, you just want to have walls surrounding you and you do not want to be near windows or glass. And also, if you have friends or family that you know are currently traveling or right around this tornado warning, or they're currently in their vehicle or in a mobile home, they want to evacuate that and get to a very sturdy structure. So always have a plan and stay prepared. And we are continuing to monitor this tornado warning, again, in effect until 4:15, and this does include eastern portions of Harford County along with Cecil County, and again, it's in effect until 4:15, so for the next 10 minutes or so. And the kind of the broadness of rotation, you can still see that couplet just to the south of Rising Sun. So the different colors represent the wind direction. So the tighter the green and the red colors are together, the tighter the couplet is. So the green color basically means that the winds are flowing towards the radar site, and the red color is showing the winds are flowing away from the radar site. And it looks like the cell is, again, still heading northward at about 20 miles per hour, and it's just to the south of Rising Sun. So North Hills, you want to make sure you are getting to your safe place at this moment if you are not already. The Mason-Dixon Village, get to that safe place, Greenhurst, and even Calvert. We're going to zoom out a little bit, and yes, okay, that's the latest radar scan. It is still showing some of that rotation drifting northerly right over, or very close to Rising Sun, I should say. So let's time it out. Let's see, whoops. Okay, so we're going to time this out. Okay, it's going to be closer to Oxford in the next 17 minutes or so. So we still are dealing again with this tornado warning, which is in effect until 4:15. And it looks like the center of the rotation is inching closer and closer to the Mason-Dixon line. But let's take a quick peek at the hail core. Yes, still seeing some of that rotation right around Rising Sun at this moment. That's that red color that you see on your screen right here. That's what it's currently picking up. But still talking about a half-inch sized hail in diameter currently falling to the north and east of Port Deposit. But I know Patrick has a quick peek at the latest scan of radar right now.
Yeah, I wanted to zoom out a little bit. I know a lot of times in these events, you guys are concerned about your communities because we're laser focused on one area, one community. We're sometimes breaking it down to not only neighborhood level, but we're diving down to street level. And this may sound like unfamiliar territory to you. Our jobs in these events are to come on to you, cut into our programming to let folks know where this is, where's it headed. If it's crossing over Allegheny, moving towards York Road, like that's what we're trying to do. So, but I want to take this minute to zoom out a little bit while we see this rotation trying to cross over the border here, to give you an idea of what we're tracking elsewhere in the state. And we have had several severe thunderstorm warnings. They've been allowed to expire. We are still tracking a very active, turbulent atmosphere that can still produce tornadoes till tonight. We're going to be watching this until the 11 o'clock show, essentially. But we're also tracking lots of rain. We have seen, literally, there's been 6 water rescues out in Frederick County because of rain that has just been inundating folks out there. And whenever we look at the last 12 hours, you can see what's happening here out in Frederick County. Those numbers are high. We're talking about roughly 5.5 to nearly 6.5 inches of rain, according to radar estimates, just within the last 12 hours out in Frederick County. Thankfully, it hasn't been that bad close to us, but we still have our own flash flood warning that's in effect for portions of Carroll and Cecil counties this evening because we have radar estimates near Edgewood of nearly 4 inches, 3.5 for Aberdeen, Northeast picking up 3. This area typically floods whenever we normally get lots of roadside flooding. We have had water rescues in Harford County within the last couple of months due to flooding. So reasons for us to be concerned about that as we approach rush hour. So make sure that if you have friends, relatives, family that are moving about, driving or around, trying to head home, send them a text. Be careful out there. Meteorologists said that they're saying that it's wet out there. They can see it and they can hear it if they look out their windows, but sometimes having that extra voice to tell people to use extreme caution, especially if it's not ours, may make them listen a little bit harder. And I'm going to say this one more time because if you were called in yesterday or 2 days ago and specifically asked for me to remind you all that if you are driving around in these streets with your windshield wipers on, also have your lights on. Stevie?
Yeah, Patrick, and just got word from the National Weather Service, chat that this warning will expire at 4:15. So for the next 5 minutes or so, it's still going to remain in effect. But it's still producing a great deal of rain right around Rising Sun, Port Deposit, mainly situated to the north of Northeast and Charlestown right now. So we're going to zoom in a little bit and we are going to track, we're going to take a quick peek at velocity for you. So, okay, that couplet is looking a little bit tighter, but see how it's kind of hugging the Mason-Dixon line? That's why the warning is going to expire in the next 5 minutes because it's continuing to travel northward. And it's going to aim straight for Oxford within the next 10 minutes or so. We're also dealing with some lightning right around Rising Sun, Port Deposit, still talking about some pretty intense rainfall, but that couplet is actually tracking well up to our north and east. So that is good news for us. But we're still talking about some rotations. The radar is still picking up on some of that rotation that is currently happening upstairs in the atmosphere. There is no indication just yet that there is in fact a tornado on the ground, but we do know that there is some rotation in the clouds upstairs. So that's why there is a tornado warning in effect. So for the folks who are just tuning in, maybe you're just getting home from that long drive from work, we are still talking about this tornado warning, which is in effect for the next 3 minutes or so. It's about to turn 4:12. So for the next 3 minutes, this warning will still remain in effect. And it looks like some of that rotation is a little bit tighter right around the Mason-Dixon line. So almost like directly over the line right now. So it's looking a little bit more significant, zooming in a little bit, just to the north of Farmington, to the north of Sunset Gardens, Rising Sun, and to the northeast of North Hills right now. Taking a look again at that hail core, it wasn't looking too impressive earlier. And yes, okay, yep, we are only seeing about, this cell is only producing about a ½ inch, or only producing hail about a ½ inch in diameter, but it's still producing some lightning strikes. So you can see some lightning currently happening right to the south and east of Rising Sun at this moment. Again, very intense rainfall currently happening with this storm as well. That rotation, the center of it looking to drift directly over the Mason-Dixon line. And that's really not the only area that we're tracking that has a lot of that heavy rainfall, but we're also talking about that tornado threat that's still going to linger over the next few hours or so. Zooming out a little bit, I'll put this into motion so you can see we still have a lot of moisture being ejected into our area. So right around Salisbury, and actually there is a tornado warning just to the south of Easton, or just to the south of Cambridge, and it's headed, looks like it's heading north and east. But there's a good dosing of rain that's currently gliding through parts of the city and back off towards the north and west, up towards Westminster. I have friends up in Manchester dealing with some of that intense rainfall as well. And there are some hills up there too. So definitely the roads are slippery. Tawnytown, looking at some of that heavier rain right now falling around Mount Pleasant, just around, or even around Littlestown, Pennsylvania. But yes, so we have a lot more rain to go. It's not just going to end over the next hour, but we still have more rainfall to go as we head into the early evening hours as well. So I want to just touch on this tornado warning because it actually is set to expire in the next minute or so. But they actually just issued a tornado warning for Oxford, rightfully so, because of that rotation. It's looking pretty tight-knit right to the north of rising sun. So we'll go back to storm relative velocity, and you can see basically the rotation is kind of out of our hair, out of Cecil County. It's up to our north and east, right to the south of Oxford, and it's very tight, that very tight couplet of green and reds and pinks that you see on your screen right there. That's the higher and the tighter concentration of the winds flowing towards and away from radar. So so far we've had 2 confirmed tornadoes for our viewing area, and we will have to wait and see from the National Weather Service if this is in fact, if this tornado actually did touch down, because right now it is just radar indicated. But we currently, it is almost 4:15, so this warning is again set to expire in less than a minute. So it should be expiring any second now. But again, we're not just talking about the threat for some rotating storms, but also these storms could produce damaging winds. We've had reports come in from the National Weather Service of trees down on wires, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some scattered power outages across the area. But yes, okay, so the National Weather Service has actually expired that tornado warning that was in effect for eastern Harford and even Cecil County. So we are going to send you back to your regularly scheduled programming, and Patrick and I will keep a very close eye on radar, and we're going to bring you more updates as we head into the next few hours or so during WMAR2 News at 5, 6, and 7, even 11.
You know?
I try so hard. I really do. And my kids are still luckily at that age where they indulge me. But I did read that